getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
How's it going, Steve?
Going well, Tim. How are you doing this morning?
Not bad.
Appreciate you asking.
Nice out.
It was a little chilly last night.
Yeah.
I almost brought the apple trees into the garage, but then I forgot. Like, I walked out there, and then I started messing with the lights because it's like a 3-switch thing, and so one of them they wouldn't work until one of them was flipped. You know what I'm talking about? With all three on a circuit or whatever. Anyway, so I got sidetracked with that and didn't bring them in, so I was glad that...
I was surprised that I went out.
Got down to like 35, or it's supposed to.
Yeah, and then I guess Wednesday, the high is like mid-50s or low 50s. I'm like, what? Which...
Hey, I'll go bundle up on the couch all day. Or do I have meetings on Wednesday?
I don't know.
Probably.
Saturday was beautiful. Like, oh, so nice. Then I went out Sunday morning. I was like, holy crap, what a difference. It was like, it was more pants and sweatshirt weather, at least in the morning. And then it got nice. But
I wore pants and long sleeves all weekend just because I was out tick land.
Yeah. We had, Adeline had a tick on her Saturday, we found in the shower. I'm like, what's that? Oh, tick. And then it was weird. Alicia really didn't go any place for ticks, and she had a tick on her yesterday, I think it was. And so, yeah, if you're getting out in any sort of grass or outside, just at the end of the day, check for ticks because those things are freaking nasty.
Do a tick check.
Yeah. Crazy that I never remember this as a kid, ever. It was never an issue. My parents never were like, oh, check for ticks. Just suddenly in the last 5-6 years, maybe 10, I don't know. Seemed like it's really accelerated how much. And then they said, like, if it's a cold, snowy winter, they usually die off, and so it's not so bad, which this year hasn't been as bad as years past, because years past, like, my dad, I think, is a magnet for it, because he's like, yeah, I had like 32 ticks on me today. And I'm like,
It's
how?
like an ant bed. You
Right,
got a
like,
tick bed.
holy cow, like, so I don't know if it's because he's, like, mowing grass and stuff, and because usually don't find them in any of the low, like your lawn usually won't. But if you go out in the woods at all, or if you go in any high grass, then those suckers will come off on you. But
I was out in the woods clearing trails yesterday. I didn't find any on me. I have my pants tucked into my boots, long sleeves on, shirt tucked in.
That probably helps. Yeah, so it was funny because on Friday, so I tried to do the whole clickbait thing on the show last time. Steve talks about quitting thing. And I had like 3 people message me, Steve quit the show? I'm like, no. And then Zeta like messaged me, and I haven't talked to Zeta in a while. And my dad quit. He won't answer his phone. I'm like, no. She's like, or was it clickbait? I'm like, it was clickbait. It didn't work though. It didn't work like it should have. So we won't do that again.
Hey, nobody care. Everybody's like, good. Steve's quit.
Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, whatever, cool.
I had nothing to do with the clickbait.
No, it just dawned on me like, hey, let's do this.
It's like Mike and Mike in the morning.
Excuse me.
Did you ever listen to that radio show?
Occasionally.
So Mike Golick was all right, but the other one, Mike, I can't remember, it was like Greenberg or something. He was like the master of hyperbole. It was so annoying because you try to listen to like sports talk on the way into work. This is when I lived in St. Louis. And you could listen to him for about 8 minutes, but then like he's going to have the most profound, you don't want to miss this. Like, I mean, he tried to like a hype guy, but he was very boring with his hype. It was almost to the point of, I'm glad they shut the show down because it was, all it was, I can't remember his last name, but not Golick, the other one, hyperbole. It was annoying.
You see those things on Twitter all the time too.
It's like lead you in.
Breaking news, this will take, Bill Gates down. I'm like,
or Donald Trump's going down.
No.
It's coming to a head. You ever watch those clips?
Oh, yeah. And you watch and you wait and you wait and you wait. Or it's like watching a clip, like something funny's going to happen, and 17 minutes into the clip, it's like, wait, why hasn't this happened yet? Fast forward, and then, like, this is...
The joke's on you. It's because nothing ever happens.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so you came over on Friday, and I have got the big excavator on Friday, so I've just got a lot
It's a pretty big excavator.
yeah, I just got a lot to finish at the house. I need to get my garden in. I have a lot of stuff to do. So, you're out there and you're like, hey, you didn't tell me you had the baby goats, which I thought you knew.
I knew she was pregnant, or you
Yeah,
thought she suspected she was, because
Yeah, so she 2 weeks ago now, a little over 2 weeks ago, she had them, 3 of them. I was like, whoa. And you're like, oh, said something about seeing them outside. I'm like, oh. So me and I was like, oh, we'll walk down the barn, I'll show you. And sure enough, like I was just thinking, you just saw Felipe or something who was in the mail. And no, two of the goats, little babies, were outside. So somehow they snuck out of their pen. And, which I'm glad you saw them and I went down with you because
little ninjas.
who knows where they would have went. So I grabbed them and got them back in their pen. I said, all right, let's close the barn so they don't go too far. They can leave the barn as long as they stay in the barn and don't leave the barn. And I don't know if they climbed the gate or what they did, but remember when I first got those pigs,
They were getting out.
they were like multiple times, and I had to build the freaking thing 6 feet tall.
They were like standing on each other's backs to climb out,
Something.
using each other as a ladder.
Crazy, like, and then all of a sudden the goats, I'm like, how the hell did you? Well, they might have. Like, goats are crazy. Like they climb
Yeah.
rocks, and I mean like rams,
Like
especially like
those sheer cliffs.
Yeah.
Where they're
I don't know how they do it, but
padding.
something.
I watched a special on it.
Yeah, craziness.
When you're retired, you get to
See all these cool things.
see all
like
the
this.
cool things that you never got to learn about in school.
So let's see. Saturday I went and got I had to do a emergency call in the morning, which I didn't plan on, but it's someone I know, so it's like, there's a water issue where something was leaking, and so went finally we could fix that, and then I got time to get to United's pit before they close at noon, so go there for the first load, and of course it's super busy, and I'm like, oh man, like, which it is what it is. So I get for first load of stone and get back home, and then I start heading to the pit again. I'm like, brake felt a little weird, so I was like, all right, I get there and get stone, and I get home, and then I'm like, yeah, it's really weird, spongy now, like it wasn't before. Because the brakes, ever since I got it, I know it needs front brakes and stuff. It stops, it just makes noise and whatever. But I finally went past that point apparently, and it blew out the pistons in the right side caliper, so the fluid was leaking. So now what sucks about that is like I have no choice but to fix it, because I was like, I have a ton of dirt to move from the front of the yard to the back, and then some of that better dirt up front. And so I bring it up to the barn. I had to find sockets to fit, because it was like 1 1/8" lug nut. It's big. It's a 6-wheel dump truck. So that Amelia helped me finally get the wheel off, and no wonder I had an issue and didn't stop. So the rotor, which is supposed to have metal on both sides, now the back of the rotor was gone. There was just the fins left on it. I'm like, that makes sense now why it made that noise, and it stopped okay, but I can't imagine what it'll stop like now once I put brakes in it.
Well, you sent me the picture, and I was looking, and I'm like, well, that doesn't look right, but I don't know what I'm missing, and so then I sent you back and circle, and you're like, yeah, no, that's not. That's so I was right, but I didn't know that I was right.
What you
Because I was
circled
like,
was supposed to be on the other side too. It was history. It was just funny because I've seen like my vans, the beer chew and drain van that we have, like I've seen that happen where it was weird too, because I looked at it 1 week, and this was when Jose was working for me, and like 2 weeks later he came back. He's like, yeah, the brake's just gone, and I look and it's like gone. It had worn that whole side out, and I'm like, which I don't know how that could happen that fast on that, but this, it's taken time. I've used it since I got it, but now I can't wait to see what it'll stop like with, really good
stop
brakes.
on a dime.
Of course, I got a nap this morning. I'm like, all right, I need this, and he's like, all right. So for the calipers, there's like 3 different options, and piston size this and that. I'm like, I don't freaking know what. So I got to take it off and bring it down to them. Like, why is there all these options for this stuff? Like, just made one part for it, and no, can't be the case. So hopefully I can have it all back together tomorrow. We'll see, because I need to move dirt, and I have the excavator for a month, and so it's just that dirt behind my house, between like the pens for the cows, and then just like the lawn where that's going, and where my septic is and stuff. It's just, it gets wet in the spring, but it's that nasty like It's almost like loam, but not good loam. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. It's just swamp, nasty stuff. So I take that out and put some stone in there, and I put a pipe across the driveway to help get some of that water out of there, which has made a huge difference already. And so I just got to finish that, and I couldn't believe those. So a load of stone in my six-wheeler is $100 a load, which, you know, looking at the price from last year, this year, it hasn't really gone up a lot, but the 2-inch dents that I use in my driveway used to be about $55 a load from what I remember. Now it's like 68 or so. It's like gone up, you know, which it is what it is. I get it. The cost of everything has gone up, but you just kind of see it more when you're like, oh, geez, like that's crazy.
Everything adds up.
Yeah, everything adds up quick. So, yeah, United brought me in 4 loads of sand on Friday morning. So I could put that around, you know, and which doesn't, 4 loads you think would go quite a ways, but it doesn't go as far as you think it does. And I'm like, oh, but it was, you know, $90 a load. It's only 2 miles, but you know, it is what it is. It's fuel prices through the roof, insurance through the roof, and then as like we know, you got to pay your drivers, you know, good money because it's just kind of what the
supply and demand.
It is, and so, yeah, it's crazy. Just I mean, how much things cost, and I'm just like overwhelmed because I have so much to do, and I'm like trying to get everything done, and you know, it is what it is. But luckily, the weather was nice, and one thing we did on Sunday, and I'll talk about it on the show, and then I think they maybe want to sponsor. Kyle said something about sponsoring, but so the hole-in-one diner, which is at the golf course in Newport, so good. So like 2 weeks ago, I think the Saturday game I had, Andrea went there and got food and brought it to me at the game, and it was kind of cold time I ate it, but it didn't really matter. I did the Caddyshack, and it was so good. I was like, wow.
What's the Caddyshack?
So it's his smash browns with sausage, and then like hash browns and egg, and it's like all in this bowl. It was so good, and so then we went there. I think it was last weekend, and I got that again, which is good. And then this time I tried another thing that had like maple Boston pork butt with the same kind of things in it. It was so good, and the kids, 2 of the kids got like burrito, which everything there is so good, and it's the price. So 7 of us, was it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 7 of us went there on Sunday, $100.
Not bad.
Which that's cheap. Like 100 for 7 people to eat breakfast, drink. You know, no alcoholic drinks, but regular drinks. $100. That's cheap. A lot of times, 4 of us to go somewhere and it's $100. Just for breakfast. If you go over to a country cafe or whatever, just because everything's so expensive nowadays. And these guys do an amazing job. So if you haven't gone to Hole-in-One Diner, like, you have to check it out because he's like a top-notch chef. Everything comes out garnished. I mean, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I read his bio. He worked down, was it Charleston or somewhere, and he would put on.
He's been a bunch of places.
It was like something you would see in like California or something, where he would go in and make gourmet meals that you couldn't get at a restaurant. So like some type of meat that's a specialty in Turkey or something that.
Yeah, it's just does an amazing job, and the prices are extremely fair. And every time I've gone there on a weekend, it's been slammed, like busy, because there's no place in Newport to get breakfast except for this place. And hopefully it starts catching on more. They're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, and you can they're open till 2, so they have a lunch menu too. And no, it's good. It's so Kyle Rainey, who used to own the market when we got it from him, and then. So he's part owner, and then is it Porter? I can't remember. I can't remember his first name now, but who's the chef we're talking about here? He did like the whole bread food truck thing there, breaking bread food truck, and then he got a deal up here. He went up here, and I was telling Kyle, I was like, man, you guys are outgrowing this place already. And
was it pretty busy?
It was very busy. Yep. I think they could have put some people out on the deck there, but Sunday was chilly, so no one was going to want to be out there. But I guess on Saturday, he's like, yeah, this was full. I had people out on the deck. So
the golf course open yet?
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, you need to get out there and play since we never did last year. We talked about it.
Did I tell you about that? So we got a phone call. Was it Saturday? I don't know. everything's blending together. But anyways, Adriano went with, I think, Tanner and a few other people, I don't know, golfing. And Adriano's not really a golfer. He's been a couple times. Emilio's the golfer in the family, and he's quite good at it. And so they're at hole 2, which is up by the Moose. And apparently he hooked a shot and smoked the window at the Moose and put the golf ball into the window, like broke the window. So he's calling us all panicked, like, can you cover, like, just you pay for it, and then, like, I'll pay you back and, like, cover the cost. And so, of course, Mike, who is, like, vice president or president, I don't know, the Moose up there, who also is the owner at First Choice, where we bring our vehicles to get fixed. And he's like, you Andrew's son? Yes. So it gives him all his information. And, I mean, he was good. He wasn't going to run away or whatever, but so he hasn't got a price on that window yet, but hopefully not.
It's not covered. Is it not? Is it off? Is it across the street from the golf course?
It's the one that's across the street in hole 2, and I guess there's like a fence thing up there or whatever too, but he must have had a really good shot and it just happened to get in between all that and smoke out a window. And yeah.
That's crazy. I've been playing for 30 some odd plus years, and knock on wood, I've never broken a window.
That would be totally something I would do.
Houses lined up on the sides and everything.
That's something I would do right there. So, and then Matty Miller was saying that, or no, Jeff Miller was telling me, he's like, hey, yeah, Maddie and Alicia have been going up to the hole-in-one, to the driving course, like 2 times last week. And I told Alicia over the weekend, I was like, listen, next time you go, you better let me know, because me, Emilio, and Steve are going, because this is going to be fun to watch. And we'll have to bring Adriano too, because apparently his shots go in different directions. And which, don't get me wrong, that's exactly where mine would go, because I'm not good at all. Like,
it takes practice.
Yeah, so we definitely got to go to the driving range, and then I want to try golfing this year. We're definitely taking the golf cart though.
Yeah.
Those people are nuts.
I'm getting to the point to where my back, as much as I don't know. I get in the zone either way. It's just a different mindset.
Yeah, I want to try it though and see. Like,
we'll get you to the driving range a couple times.
A couple more times, yes. Because if not, I will be a major hindrance to everybody.
50 yards down the middle, or you know what I mean. You just got to take an easy swing, and it'll be more enjoyable for you and everybody else.
Especially everybody else, because.
Well, you don't want to feel. You'll get frustrated with yourself because you'll have hit a couple good shots, and then you're like, dribble one when you're first starting off.
Well, I said a minute too, because like hole 1, we're sitting in. The last time we went to the hole-in-one diner, so we're sitting and you could watch them teeing off from hole 1, and there's that big pine tree, so you kind of like loop around. And he's like, yeah, the hole is like right behind that, and so I watched a couple shots go out in the woods, and I'm kind of laughing, like that's what I would do. And he's like, no, you gotta kind of loop it around, and I was like, man, that's not freaking easy. I'm like, why the hell they put a tree in the way?
That's what makes it fun. I love holes like that, because then you can try to go over the trees and go directly for the green, or you can curve it around, whether it's a hook or a slice. Yeah. Slicing is a lot easier for me, because all I got to do is commit the L4, L5 vertebrae, and it usually leaves my wrist open, and I'll get a nice fade. But drawing's a little bit trickier. You got to have full. I have to have full mental focus to draw the ball, because golf is like, you have to think about what you're doing. You can overthink things. You can not think enough. It's.
So for those out there that don't know what he's talking about, I don't either, so don't worry about it. It's all good. You're in good company here.
Anybody that plays golf knows what I'm talking about.
Yes. And for those that don't, no clue. See, I've always been the one like, hey, let's go to the golf course, and I want to hit him with a baseball bat, because, oh, my God, golf balls they fly with a baseball bat. We used to do that at my parents' house, and then they started to go too far, and we weren't allowed to do that no more. It's too close to the neighbor's house.
I used to be really good at golf.
My dad teed off one time when I was a kid on a lawn, and my dad never golfed or anything, but we were hitting golf balls. Like, we got a golf club at a flea market or something. He smokes this thing probably out, I don't know, 150 feet, hard enough, it hits the tree and bounces back at us. And we're like, whoa.
I've played enough to where I've seen somebody hit it off the end of it's called towing it off the end of the club, and go directly right and almost kill somebody, because the angles that don't go straight. So that's what I'm saying. We need to get you the range for our safety just as much as your enjoyment. And don't get me wrong, I could do that at any given moment, because it just takes a break in concentration. You have to be concentrated. Like when I was growing up, my best golf games were when I had nothing going on in my life. I wasn't in. There was nothing to be concerned if I forgot a chore or something. My grades, my girlfriend, all that stuff. Like if there was nothing going on, I'm shooting in the 70s.
Oh, so you're gonna be horrible now.
Basically, I got too much stuff going on, so I can't focus.
So if you want a really amazing breakfast, or even you can get lunch, they're open from, I don't know what time in the morning, but they're open until 2 o'clock. I'll get the times for our next show. But Hole in One is right at the Newport Golf Course, right off Unity Road, and amazing food. Amazing. The prices are really really good. I think the most expensive thing on the menu was like $12 or $14, and the portions are big too. Like I only ate half of my food yesterday. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm good. And the burritos are amazing too. I personally haven't tried it, but everyone in my family said one. They're like, oh, these things are so good. So yeah, check that out. It's a local place. So, and we don't have many places for breakfast around here. So here's another option right here. And while I'm on this, let's talk about special thanks to Beard Sewer and Drain for sponsoring the show. So was it Kelly Shackett McNamara won the giveaway. We dropped off her bouquet of flowers and $100 cash and $50 gift card yesterday.
Nice.
She lives right there in Croydon, so local. It was good. Of course, when I had Adelina pull the name out of we had almost 300 names.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so which was fantastic, and so I had Adelina pull it out. And so the last time I did a giveaway, I had trouble with the name, and it was actually funny because it's actually Andrew's cousin that won it. Her name's Flora, and it just is not a normal name, and I was like messing it up, So this one I like read it, and I'm like, I said Kylie instead of Kelly. Well, because she has a brother named Kylie, and so automatically when I saw the Shackett, it went to that, and I had to correct it. I'm like, man, I just can't speak. But congratulations. And then Sunshine Realty, Teresa Sherman, reach out to her if you're, buying, selling, or you're going to be buying or selling anytime in the future. Sunshine Realty will hook you right up. And then Twin State Paving, if you want anything paved this summer, now's the time. Reach out to them. And they've always done an amazing job for anything I've done, and they do really good work. And they're like 4th generation pavers, so they could do it in their sleep blindfolded. So thank you to all our sponsors, and I'll double check with Kyle, but I think he wants to come on and sponsor the show too. So Hole in One Diner, definitely check it out. Like I said, the food is amazing.
So I've clicked on 2 things just to look for the hours.
Negative.
Negative. I'm on Yelp, and then I did their Facebook page. I'm sure it's on their Facebook page somewhere, but I don't have an account, so maybe I'm limited or whatever.
We'll get them. I know they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but the rest of the week they're open. I know they're open until 2 o'clock. So
that stinks because that's my weekend. Because that's usually Nikki's 2 days off, or Mondays and Tuesdays. So I like to keep those days free, with the exception of tomorrow. I'll be doing a policy meeting.
It's just it's a sign that you need to go without her, I guess. Go by yourself and sit up there and
then go golf.
Yeah, you do that.
Find some guys to take their money.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but
show up with my ratty blue jeans on and no collared shirt and see if they'll let me play. They shouldn't. You gotta have a collar on.
They're very much this etiquette. Yeah.
Yeah, golf's all about just as much pomp and circumstance as it is performance.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So tonight, selectmen's meeting at 6:30. There's not a ton of things. There's a few different things on there. Nothing that was like super controversial, but under informational is the bus barn on the agenda. So it'll be interesting to see what the town decides to do after the vote. I know we talked at Thursday school board meeting, like from what we understood, they're like the belief is it's not a legal vote or whatever because you can't do that. But Bert cited the law that said it's clear as day right here. So we'll see what happens. But I don't want to speculate too much until after we see what happens, because hopefully we'll work this out like we need to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the town clearly spoke to
yes, and I think
figure it out.
Barry actually stopped at the house because he's my neighbor down the road, but I wasn't there, which was unfortunate. I don't know where I was. No, maybe I was doing that call. He was wanting to talk to me about the bus burn or whatever, and of course I wasn't home, so I was like,
That stinks.
Yeah, I know.
Opportunity lost.
Yeah, because I like to take those opportunities, and because obviously at the end of the day, we want it just to let's work it out and make it work best for everybody. And I mean, really, that's all that matters is what's best for Newport and our taxpayers, our residents, and yeah. Although I got this thing, I got to fill it out. So I surveyed. Did you get a survey from? Okay, it actually said from was it 2011 to 21? Our numbers have gone down in Newport to 6,300 and something. So I thought that was interesting because I saw something else. I thought we were up around like 7,000 people. So, but obviously this would be the most accurate. I mean, it's right from the town. So basically, it's just a survey from planning and zoning. You know, asking about like where would you like to see, you know, growth and different things, and you know.
I don't want to see any growth. I want to see the roads paved.
Yeah.
I want to be in the 21st century.
You know what pisses me off? I don't know if you noticed it. I'm not, because I don't know when they did it. It was just I came home one day. I'm like, what the hell? They put yellow lines down my road.
Yeah, I saw them the other day too. I was like, again, because they messed up. That's what made me. I was like, no, I would have noticed that. So like, it was another case of
Messed up. You can't. No. I don't know if it's a messed up. It's the road so bumpy and so bad that it looks like someone drunk paved them, or excuse me, lined it. Which now I'm sure it wasn't a huge amount of money to do it, but what a complete waste of money to do it.
Yeah, they did that to Martin Whitney like 6 months before they paved it,
Right.
and then they
So
striped it, and the stripes didn't stick.
like I felt like going to the meeting tonight and just say like, what the hell? Like, you talk about a waste of money, and I don't care if it's $300.
They got a lot of people passing each other on Springfield Road.
No, we haven't had lines. I've lived there, and I've had property up there. I haven't lived there for 8 years, but I've had property there for 8 years, and it's never had lines. Now suddenly it's like we put lines in it. Well, maybe it's a sign they're going to pave it sometime in the 6 months period.
Maybe.
Then I won't complain. But
Was that your road? I thought I noticed another road that they did, and the lines were jacked up. Looked like, but it wasn't. I know what you're talking about because that's what Barton Whitney looked like. And I was like, why? Like that's trashy looking and
a waste of money.
Waste of money, and it's like, oh.
So I want to, like I said, I don't care if it's $300 to do it.
So
it's a waste of $300.
It could have been your road that I saw, but like they like it was just.
I mean,
a waste of money that's the best way to put it. Like, there's nothing else to say. It's a waste of money.
My road is one of those roads that if a car is like swerving all over the road in front of you,
you just pull over to the side.
But it doesn't mean that they've been drinking. It just means they're trying to miss the big ass holes everywhere. Like
I thought you meant coming at you. But
no,
yeah.
like it's horrible.
Yeah, it's like Barton Whitney was. 3 years ago.
Yeah. So at this point, you might as well just rip all the asphalt up and just grade it and just keep it dirt. Like
yeah, because your dirt road
yeah.
is better than the paved.
Yeah.
I was happy actually when I got onto the dirt portion because it flattened out and smooth.
I told Barry Connell, I was like, yeah, don't you ever let anyone in town say that you have favoritism here because that road right there is like the worst one in town, I think, at this point, and you live on it. So, yeah, just absolute trash. It's just ridiculous.
But we're going to spend $28 million on a sewage treatment plant for 1,400 users because that's a good source of money for the townspeople.
Yeah, you have all this grant money coming in. Why don't you fix the goddamn road?
Why don't you find a sewage treatment plant that doesn't cost $28 million for 6,200 people, that only 1,400 households allegedly are on the system? 14 to 2,000, 2,400. I don't know. I've heard different numbers, so it's somewhere in there. But that just sticks to my craw because everybody's scared of the EPA. The EPA is not even a real freaking organization. It's not authorized. Everybody operates out of fear. And when everybody decides to say, I'm not scared, I don't give a shit, you work for me, do what I ask, I'm ignoring you. Like, I got nothing for you. You're not doing anything that I want to do. That's what it was. We can't get the federal government, so let's say we do need an actual $28 million sewage treatment system.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our federal taxes, millions, like it went up, and this is on one incident, to go study homosexuality in Pakistan or whatever. So the government can go and study and give people grants to study social construct instead of giving it to their own citizens so that they don't have to spend $28 million. This is my issue that I have, that everybody should have, and everybody should say, I'm done playing your game. You work for me. I don't have to do what you say just because you say it. Just like, we say something on the school board, if it's doesn't make sense if the schools, that's what we were trying to tell everybody at that discipline meeting, I think, is what I was trying to say anyway, my own personal point. If all of us say no, then nothing's going to happen to us. They're going to have to take us to court, whatever else. Like,
Right.
oh, they're going to fine you. You're not going to be able to upgrade your septic tank. Okay, stop me. They're going to have the EPA police at all 6,400 residences, making sure that we don't do anything untoward to our septic systems. No, it's all fear, and everybody needs to stop being scared of the government and tell the government what to do. The government works for us. We don't. The jackasses, those people are not educated or anything else. They're freaking actors reading a script. They don't write the laws. Lobbyists who come in and write the laws, and then they go back and they work for their business and they take advantage of the loopholes. It's very clear. So that's what I was raging about this weekend, is everybody is scared when all it takes is all of us to say, no, you're not in charge. I'm in charge. Now, granted, we may lose out if there's a vote or whatever else, but when you lose the vote, you lose. It's over with. There's no discussion unless it's like, something crazy, like kill all cows in, New Hampshire, and somehow that passes. I wouldn't believe that it would, but that's like the absurdity of some of these things. Like, spend $28 million on a septic system for 1,400 people.
They have this whole initiative, like,
where in anyone's mind does that even sound like? I would have been like, yeah, try again. Like, do you know what town you're in? You know how many people are on that? Let's tailor it for 1,400, scalable up to 3,000. Make it so that there's some growth.
Yeah. No, it's a joke. Like, I was listening to some radio program as a doctor or whatever over the weekend, and I think he said by like 2040 they plan on trying to get rid of all meat-based products. Everything would be either lab-based or plant-based. There'll be no more chicken, no more beef, no more pork, for the environment. It's best for the environment.
All I'm saying, I have genetically modified tomatoes inside right now. Like, they're the hybrids, not necessarily like they've messed with them. They've crossbred and whatever else they've injected into them. They're like this tall now. All my heirloom seeds, 2 trays now have failed to. Something's not right. That or the heirloom seeds are a little bit more sensitive than the hybrids. But, I mean, the hybrids are gigantic. Like, they're ready to go in the ground today, and they'll probably be producing tomatoes in like a month. Like, it's ridiculous. I got
you all fired up.
You did. You triggered me. No, I don't like the fact that everybody does things because of threats and fear and everything else. Do what you want that doesn't impede on anyone else, right?
That's how the whole system works.
Yeah, it's how it's supposed to work.
Then I have this
It went from individual freedoms to you better do this or they're going to fine us and tax us and blah, blah, blah. Tell them to fine and taxes. Where are they going to get the money? You going to squeeze a turnip? Give them all the grant money that you got, and then operate on our budget and figure it out.
I mean, so like, for instance, like how the town won't give us a building permit for the CTE ag building that's going to go where the old hockey rink is, because apparently that piece of property was a grant based from the state or whatever. So we need an athletic field. We don't need we need less than 3/4 of an acre that will turn that into where the ag building's going, and then we need 3/4 of an acre. But the town won't give us a building permit because, they haven't figured out, how they can extort any money out of us yet to make this happen. So, and I tried telling the superintendent, and this is just my opinion personally, but I'm like, under what grounds did they not give you a building permit? Under what? Under what? Where? Show me in law that says that there's an issue here and we won't give you a building permit.
They didn't even have the deed done up right. That's why whenever they went and looked at
Ed
the land,
Carr's the only one that knew about
exactly.
the whole
They never
goddamn
would have
thing.
known about it if Ed Carr had been
Yeah.
sick that day.
Yep.
Building would start right now. So now we're on a 3-month delay. It's going to drive our prices up. So then magically they can be like, "Oh, you're wasting taxpayers' dollars."
Yeah, yeah.
Not going to acknowledge the fact that they didn't do their transfer of deed properly. And this doesn't apply to these guys, obviously, currently. But it
Right.
does partially because they're the one enforcing it now. But your predecessors didn't do what they were supposed to do. Not my issue. Like, you figure that out and let us do our own thing because it's for the greater good. Everybody likes to say the greater good.
Yeah. So that's going to be delayed. So we'll see what happens with that.
Like, there's a lack of common sense in this world. And maybe I lack it too. Maybe I, whatever. But just apply some common sense. Does it make sense to charge 1,400, much less 6,000 people, $28 million for a sewage treatment plant?
And keep in mind, you're pissed and you're not even having to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't even have to pay for it. I'm
not even on
mad
it.
because it
whole
hurts
idea.
the citizens, man.
Yes.
Like, I like this town and I want to keep it the way that it is. That's why I don't want the FAA taking over my airport, which, by the way, they didn't get all the money that was said that was going to get, because that's up for...
They didn't?
I don't think so.
That's weird. I thought it was like the magic
It's automatic.
fairy
If
comes
you
over.
like, once you sign up with the
Just
FAA,
sprinkle
they
it.
just hand it right to you. You don't have to wait 3 years. You get it immediately.
Yeah.
And maybe they get some of them, but there's issues still. Just common sense, do the right thing, and act like that money is important to people when there's a finite. Well, there's a finite amount for us when the Fed can keep printing it and tax us through inflation, which makes our dollar worth less, and we all keep suffering from it. And that's why everything's going up, is because we have to pay people more so that they can survive. But then at a certain point, it's all going to break, because we're all scared to get fined and taxed by a government that's... I never voted to establish the EPA.
For the people, we the people, by the people.
No.
That whole thing. No. Everyone's forgot all about that. They're all like, oh, no.
You do what you're told. These are educated baristas that went from making $19 an hour, that's on the high end, but it's New York City, to having millions of dollars after 3 or 4 years of $100,000 something salary.
Amazing, isn't it?
I wonder what she received all those millions of dollars for. Wearing her lipstick that the socialist acts like. You know that, right? That was like a whole story when she was first acting like she's a borderline communist and the people need whatever. And then someone's like, you're wearing like a $500 lipstick, or I don't know. It was, I don't know how much, but it was a lot of money. It was like a ridiculous amount that if any of our daughters or wives were like, I want to go buy this $500 lipstick, we would laugh.
So this tells you.
But she's a communist or a socialist that cares about.
But it tells you how screwed up the country is when Dianne Feinstein is rolled in a wheelchair, hasn't been seen.
I mean,
in
she
months.
looks like a zombie.
Right. But they still keep electing her. Figure that one out. She's like what, almost 90?
Well, so here's the thing: either you have some really ignorant voters out there, because she had a spy driving her for 20 years. Like, you would think that there would be like some repercussions for that.
You would think, like prison.
Yeah, well, prison, or
At least kicked
you're
out
an
of
idiot
Congress.
moron, so we're not going to
Senate.
vote for you or allow you in here, because what all, and then like an investigation, like what all does this person garner over 20 years? I'm sure they did that kind of stuff, but like nothing came of it because she's still serving in the Senate.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be in charge, not those clowns. Those clowns are supposed to do what we say. They don't. They do what the lobbyists pay them to say and write.
Oh,
Think about it. All of y'all that love the GOP, McCarthy still hasn't released all the January 6 tapes, and people are still going to jail. Now, people who were violent, whatever.
right.
I get it. But the ones who were like the shaman that was escorted around by like 9 cops at one point that could have arrested him at any given moment, I think he's been released, because it was like,
They withheld evidence,
Yeah.
which is illegal. Like,
so the GOP and everybody who acts like the two-party system is the only way to go, they're just as useless as the other party. Both parties are corrupt. Whenever everybody realizes that, we can start having a government that's with us and for us.
and do you really think they want your guns for your safety?
No.
Or their safety.
Study history. See what happens in every country where that happens.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Australia would be
Like,
a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Australia, man, it's out
Bad.
of control. They're basically in 1984 with their digital IDs, their propaganda. Like, it makes me want to vomit watching the propaganda to act like it's so great to have the government in your phone tracking you. Like, I'll get rid of my phone just out to say, now what? You're going to buy my phone and pay for it? I'm not giving you any tax money for that.
When is enough?
The Internet of Things. That's why you need 10-year-old equipment, so that your stuff's not communicating your activity. You know that does it, right? Like,
Yeah.
It all sends data.
Yeah.
That's probably attached to your advertising ID because that's all you really are.
Just a number and just
You're a cow for slop. Like
Yeah.
you could just order your own oats and barley. Anyway, I digress. I'm not talking.
So, anyways,
The rest of the show.
select board meeting tonight, 6:30. Some cool things over the weekend. Bear with me as I read through this, but the Newport track shines at CVC Championships. So we had a super solid performance today at Keene High. The boys 4x400 had an incredible second place performance, but not before smashing the school record of a 3 minutes 39 seconds and 0.85 to a 3 minutes 36.93. Caden Clare, Timmy Fratzel, Aaron Fellows, and Eric Wilkinson. So they beat
2 seconds.
Yeah, by 2 seconds. And
What competition does break the school record and still
yeah,
get a silver?
the downside is Caden, Timmy, and Eric are seniors. Aaron's only a sophomore, so hopefully we can get a couple other boys that can run with him, and because there's still a chance to break records. So that's awesome. And they followed up with a 45 second 0.75 second place in a 4x100. Kyle Ashley was the CVC championship winner of the javelin with New Hampshire season leading toss of 177 feet 3 inches. Wow. Yeah. He also secured second in the shot put of 44 feet 8 inches.
Who is that?
That's Kyle Ashley.
Nice job, Kyle.
He was a junior, and our football, our quarterback. Leclerc snagged a fourth with a 23 second 71.71 200-meter dash. Freshman Aiden Cowett notched a fifth place in a triple jump as well. On the girls' side, Maddox Lovely had a stellar day, winning 3 individual events, and being crowned the trackmeister of the meet. She won the 100 hurdles in 15.98, the 300s hurdles in 49.99, and the 200-meter 27.15. She also anchored the championship girls 4x100 team, consisting of speedy Jessica McGuire, newcomer Olivia Moody, and standout Taylor Fellows. Sophomore Torrance Williams launched a javelin for third place with 87 feet 4 inches, and Skylar Nelson was able to grab a fifth place in discus. A great day for the Tigers. Up-and-coming youngsters had the 7th in the 4x800 with sophomores Caden Forend, Travis Avery, and freshman Bryce Palmer and Aiden Cowett. So great job. Some real track stars there that are really doing really well this year. I was telling Jim Burrows at the vote there on that Tuesday, I was like, because his wife still holds the record for, I think, shot put or something from 95, which is crazy. Like, we almost should, when the record gets broken, we should have, like, the record that's there now, it should stay there, but then, like, let's have this new one here. So that, because they were record holders for years. So that way it's not forgotten, like, oh, yeah, we forgot that, you know, so-and-so just be, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of, when you look at it, you kind of see the history, like, oh, wow, that record stood for 20 years, but you still can see who had the record. And but it's just so cool to see some of these stars come out of here, and they're doing awesome.
That's
Awesome. The girls,
a lot of discipline involved with the running.
yes,
And shot put and javelin. That's
like
timing and science and a little bit of art.
yeah, they're doing awesome. The varsity girls softball team won against Fall Mountain on Friday, and so they're 9-0. They have a game today home, and the boys varsity does too. The boys lost like 10-3, but it was a pretty close game. One of the closer ones they've had all year. So they have a game today. I'm not sure who they're playing today, but we have a game tomorrow in Mascoma, and then next week ends our season next week, and we have 3 games, I think. And but I believe by the end of next week we'll be getting into playoff. So yeah, the varsity girls are definitely in the playoffs and hoping to get positioned well into it, so we don't have to face like Prospect Mountain or like St. Thomas to like the quarterfinal stuff, because they're 2 top teams, like really good. Fall Mountain's actually a pretty good challenge. Their pitcher was really good, kept us at, it was like 0-0 for the first 3 or 4 innings, and then finally they started to get to her and crack, and once it kind of cracks, and then we did run rule them again, but I think it was like in the 6th inning or something, so it was a lot closer game. The pitching is so important. It really, and that's what the boys' issue is the pitching, and just not that we don't have good pitchers, it's just these kids can hit off them, and these kids are cranking out home runs and different things. And Emma O'Connor, I think it's O'Connor. It's Emma. I don't just know Emma, but she's a junior and hit a home run.
Wow, nice.
She's like, I mean, Peyton Blackington's like the smallest one on the team, but Emma's like same stature, height wise, but she's a lefty.
Is she's only a junior?
She's only a junior.
But she played soccer when she was like in 8th grade or something.
Probably.
Did she move up?
Yeah.
I feel like she played with Zeta. Did she play basketball too for a while?
I don't remember. I feel like she's been there forever, but yeah, she's only a junior. The same like Tanya Sanchez, who was our pitcher. She's a junior.
Well, it's kind of like whenever you mentioned one of the young ladies there, but she played, I think, also as an 8th grader. So when you said her grade, I was like, oh man, she's only
I know it.
You know what I mean? It just, but the experience they're getting.
So we still have a solid team going in next year. We only have one senior. Maddie Norris is a senior in graduating this year. Other than that, who's a lefty, but so at least another year of a real solid team, and we're obviously trying to get some of these younger girls to step up to just continue to keep this level because they've been really good for a while. So no, it's awesome. Some real talent.
Proud to see their hard work pay off.
Yeah, they take it very serious. They practice hard and they play hard. They work good as a team, and that's the key to positive results right there. One thing that's out a little ways, but I'll mention it. Maybe once a week till we get to it. But Saturday, June 24th, 10 a.m. is the 9th annual Save a Stray 5K on Corbin Road. Yeah, so if you're interested in doing that, and it's for the Humane Society, the benefits for that. So, then we talked about this last week when talking the Stonewall Mapper project Newport Historical Society is putting on. It's at the Richards Free Library, 6:30 to 7:45 on Thursday of this week. So if you're not doing anything Thursday, of course I will. I'm supposed to have a zoning board, but I believe
I'm going to try to get to it.
Yeah, check it out.
You said Thursday at 6:45?
6:30.
6:30.
And goes till 7:45. So it'd be cool. Learn about stone walls, which is a big New England thing, but especially a New Hampshire thing. Did you make a note?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I got to put it on my phone calendar because all my other calendars. You said it's LiDAR, right? LiDAR.
Yep.
Stonewall. Okay. I'll be there, unless something else happens. But I think that's really.
Yeah, it's really cool. I would go. I just got too much. I have zoning board that night, which I won't probably get to, and then I think Lydia has a band concert. Must be a band concert.
I'd look up all those weird. It's not like they're not conspiracies, but like they call them ley lines. And I think I've talked about it on the show before, but like there's a ley line that kind of goes through our town, which is interesting because that guy built a Stonehenge to his friends or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like right near where the ley line should go. So I just think that's just a weird coincidence that he built that. And I don't know, because I think the guy's moved on.
That's close to Bert, so you should probably talk. I bet Bert.
I've been up and seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Looked at it. He put different stones on top of each one to represent a friend. So like, because of there was some mining back in the day off of the Mill Road there.
Right. Yeah.
Is it Mill Road or one of the roads?
Kearns Mills, and then there's a road off to the left. I think it's like not Schoolhouse Road, is it? No. It's a Class 6 road now. You can take the four wheels and stuff up to it. I think it goes up to the old Micah mines in Unity, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, it's just, to me, that's interesting just because where did they choose to build and all that other stuff. And allegedly it was influence. I don't know if it was or not or if they're even real. But it's just interesting to study. And so I think it would be cool to see if there's anything under all this, because this all used to be farmland at one point, and now it's all, not all, but there's a lot more trees.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it'd be
because, yeah,
interesting to see what's underneath it.
back in the 1800s, New Hampshire's 85% farmland and, 15% trees, and now it's flopped back the other way, or at least, in the last 15, 20 years, it's flopped back or whatever. I don't know what it is now, but now we're like 85% trees, and which is interesting. But because back then you used to have to raise your own food, right? So you'd have cows and your whatever,
Yeah.
and so now it's, the premium was for those fields, and now it's not as, important, I guess.
It wasn't. It might be again.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to start trying to make us eat bugs and lab-grown meat that
And all that
allegedly causes cancer.
And all that sounds so crazy, but you really should look into it, because it's not some conspiracy thing. It's a legit thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fake. It's real as can be.
They're really trying to convince
Yes.
you to do the right thing, almost
Right.
like something else where you owe it to your fellow citizens to eat
Yes.
these bugs, because if you don't, the cows are going to fart and you're going to die from methane farts
Yeah.
from a cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds legit.
But all those rockets we keep sending out in outer space, that's nothing.
The 85 trips that John Kerry's made on behalf of climate, causing more pollution than I ever will in my entire life, 2 times over in 1 year on his private jet.
They're part of the beautiful
But
people.
yet, I got to go eat bugs so this guy can fly around and talk about how I need to eat more bugs.
Right. As they eat their
Again,
steak.
you're all being bamboozled. I mean, and most of our audience knows this, but for those of you watching to hate on Tim, you're being bamboozled, man. Wake up.
Yeah. Slept in.
It just drives me nuts. Yeah. I'm sure there's some things that I have wrong because, whatever. I'm humble like that. I can admit that I have faults. But I'm not wrong that there's some serious baby games going on, or Mickey Mouse games, whatever you want to call it. And all you got to do is have eyes to see it.
Did you see the thing?
Believe what you see, not what you hear.
This is how far it's gone, okay? And how pathetic and ridiculous everything is. So during our NASCAR broadcasts over the weekend, I think it was Saturday's race at Darlington. So Clint Boyer, who raced for years now, is the Fox analyst, excuse me, was talking about, I think it was like throwback schemes, paint schemes, whatever. So he was talking about how back in like the old days, the Washington Redskins, and he said Redskins, and Kyle Petty and the other guy were both like, oh, you mean, like, totally said, well, no, you didn't mean that. Like, you meant, the Commanders. And he's like, well, yeah, it's Commanders now, but it was that back then, Like, it was some horrible, like, it's almost like he said the N-word, but he said Redskins, and it was all this offensive, like, and so they really backtracked, like, oh, like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's all, and they're brainwashed, scared. Use your words. You can say whatever you want as long as they're not fighting words. Doesn't mean that people agree with you or want to be around you. That's what free speech is about. God, I say it all the time.
I don't want to offend anybody. You should offend people. People need to be offended, honestly. It's at the point where people need to be offended, because so many people are so like, oh, don't offend anyone, don't offend anyone. Like, you can't even think for yourself anymore. Hello, that's the whole purpose of the whole thing.
I saw somebody last night, and it was like just a random, because I don't have a Twitter account. So I go and I scroll, and then after like 8 comments on the thing you click on, it makes recommendations across all of Twitter. Like, I don't think it does that if you have an account and signed in. Like, it'll let you see all the replies, or anyway. But somebody had said, let's do basically that. Say, like, I'm going to insult you. I want you to think about it all night long, and then let's talk again tomorrow and realize that it's all right. You can be offended and disagree with each other, something like that. It was basically like, we're going to have an argument and disagree, and tomorrow let's be friends and have a discussion about it, instead of it's the end of the world and now I must hate you because you said something I disagree with.
Right.
There's like no civility, and like even with the Board of Selectmen, we totally disagree on that, but I don't hate anybody. I'm not angry, and like, I'm annoyed in the sense that, like, a tax paying thing, right? But it's just different views that we see it. They see it differently than the way I see it. And so have a discussion about it and either disagree or let somebody else solve the problem, which it shouldn't happen because, from my perspective, the voters have said what they want. So now it's our job as two elected boards to get what the voters want. Doesn't matter what your ego wants or how you changed something because you were offended that we had a meeting that you didn't like what we said. It doesn't matter. We work for the citizens. It's pretty much that simple to me. Yeah. Like, if you want to let your pride get in the way, that's another thing, which, these are all, because we haven't discussed it yet, but based on what was said prior to that, it seemed like it didn't matter what the vote was, that we're wrong. Yeah. Which we admitted that we could have handled it better.
Well, part of me feels like if you put your employee in check where he belongs, you wouldn't have this issue, but that's my personal opinion. But Scott Baio, who I wasn't sure who this was, but you
Charles in charge, zapped.
Yeah, apparently
Arrested Development.
Yeah, says he moves his family out of the third world California after 45 years. Now living his best life in free Florida. Actor Scott Baio has lived there, in California for 45 years. However, the living conditions have become so deplorable that the Happy Days actor felt compelled to move his family across the country to free and fantastic Florida. Baio claims crime, high costs, and third world conditions for forcing him to relocate to Florida. Like, how many people have to leave that state before them idiots over there realize, like, oh, maybe everything we're doing is completely ass backwards, and like
they don't care that it's ass backwards. That's the problem.
In California,
and why did it take him 2.5 years to come to this decision? He should have left during the lockdowns and everything, because California was way worse than everybody else.
Yeah. So it's like California is literally the poster child for what they want to do to our whole country, yet they have the fastest rate of people leaving their state because you can't afford to live there, and it's such a shithole. Like
why would you even buy real estate in California?
Right.
The taxes are like New York. Like, anybody that makes a decision to live in New York and California, shame on you. Yeah. You deserve what you're getting.
But why do these people keep voting these people in there? I don't get it. How do you have all these homeless and these camps all over the place that now you can legally live on a sidewalk and they can't do anything about it?
Excrement on the sidewalks.
Right. And now they want to vote to, reparations to blacks.
Walgreens had to shut down. Walmart shutting down. That's all up
the West Coast. But yeah. So all these things are happening, but you just keep voting and voting these people in. Supposedly voting them anyways.
I saw a good... So this is along those same lines. New York City, the guy who stopped the subway terrorist from terrorizing everybody with his 40 arrest records, and now they're charging him with manslaughter. There's like 9 cops in this picture arresting this guy. Every single one of those cops knows what they're doing is wrong, and yet they still did it because they have kids and they have jobs and everything else. At a certain point in time, we're all going to have to say no.
Right.
Like, I get it. I understand.
Right. You're selling your soul.
It takes bravery, courage. It takes not being afraid to lose everything. At a certain point in time, all of us are going to have to make a decision that says, this is my red line. Like,
and they lied about that guy saying that, he just killed him, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, then he put him in a recovery position. It shouldn't have killed him. And
it's all fake news.
The guy's been arrested, 42 times or something. He was going all crazy on a
I'm not saying
subway.
It's horrible that he died.
Sure.
But to charge this man.
But there'd be less outrage if he killed 30 people on the subway than.
Oh, if he killed 30, it would be probably those 30 people's fault.
Yeah, yeah.
According to the news. Now, we know that that's how most of us don't feel.
Right.
But the news will say it, and then they will convince people who don't use logic, reason, and they just hear, and it just feeds into their weirdness. But to me, those 10 people, it goes back to what I talk about all the time. Like, if you're in the FBI and you work for or know of somebody that's above you and you have proof that they did something wrong and you don't do anything about it, shame on you. You're no better tthan them.
At what point are you going to say
10 of y'all sitting there arresting that guy, posing with a picture. You think you're cool? I mean, I don't think that they think they're cool. Half of them are probably like, man, I'm sorry, this is BS. Then don't arrest him. Right. Stand up. Tell the prosecutor to go send his guys to go arrest him.
Yeah.
But like, no, the police department's taking a stand. This guy is a Samaritan, did the right thing. We want more people like him protecting us on the street since our cops won't.
It's almost gotten to the point in the United States where you don't have a right to live. So if someone is, crazy and is trying to kill you,
You have to deal with that.
you just have to deal with it. You
You
have,
have to suffer whatever this
Yes.
guy, because if you
Yeah.
end up winning,
Yes.
so if he wins, it's okay.
Yes.
Because,
But if you
his
kill him
circumstances,
accidentally in a chokehold, which, up until recent years, police officers could legally use a chokehold anyways, and this guy is just a bad mentally ill person who was trying to harm people on a train.
yeah, he's trying to provoke.
But that's okay because now he kills all these people on a train or whatever. That's okay. That's just the system let him down.
Yeah, the system
Yet,
failed him.
you have no rights to defend yourself. You have no rights to live now. It's almost getting to a point in this country where your goddamn human rights are being violated.
Well, we probably should just leave our doors unlocked and invite everybody
Right.
in and say whatever you want, because I worked
Right.
hard and unfortunately you
Your
didn't.
property is worth more than the value of their life. Yeah, because it's my property, not theirs. They go get their own property, work for it.
Yeah, what is
No.
wrong with people, man?
Like, at what point do people stand up and say enough of this bullshit? There should be pitchforks and torches down at freaking City Hall. Be like, oh, so you're trying Trump for some bullshit made up charge
That you
should get
changed the law.
Yes,
You can track all that. And again,
Yeah.
we say it all the time. We're not Trump sycophants.
No.
Like, we'll be sarcastic and wear MAGA, Trump, whatever.
Right.
Our mega MAGA, whatever it was.
ultra MAGA shirt.
But, like, they're all connected. The lawyer's wife supported the bill and financed the bill, however it goes. But, like, you look at it, if you dig in past the headlines, you realize that it's all people working against.
The system is so corrupt. It's so
rigged.
disgustingly
It's
corrupt at this
so
point.
rigged.
It is
Like-
unbelievable.
It's so rigged.
Yep.
And we all take it. I mean, I'm sitting here telling everybody, but, like, I voted against the sewage treatment plant. I don't think it's no secret. Like, I can't do that to my fellow citizen, man. It's just unfair.
Yep. But we'll spend all these millions of dollars.
If it was spread out over the 6,200 of us, maybe I would still have an issue with it. But then it's not quadrupling people's bills. I mean, that's a big chunk of, like, we don't have a lot of extra money to spend. Any of us that, like, or, middle class trying to work our asses off. Every dollar counts. And if you can't see that, shame on you. To sit there and say, and hide behind threats from the EPA, an illegitimate government organization trying to track my water on my land, get out of here.
The EPA that decided to burn off 250,000 gallons of vinyl chloride.
12,
EPA?
was it 12 days after they changed the write-up on it? You know about that too, right? They changed the, like, whatever.
Change the fact sheet, the data
Yeah.
sheet. It's the same
12 days before, then all of a sudden they burned off.
the same
Or 11
EPA
days,
that
whatever it was.
accidentally spilt all that stuff up in Alaska and turned that river orange. That EPA? Was that the EPA?
I don't know.
think that's the
It's
EPA.
all garbage, man. It's
Like
all-
when our sewer used to go in the Connecticut
don't get me
River?
wrong. Like, we have to police ourselves at some point. Like, if I find out you're dumping something illegally, like, yeah, should do something about it. It's wrong. You should have a sense of consciousness and community. Like, there was a point in time to where I wouldn't go, like, and I don't, but, like, back in the day when we didn't know better, people would just dump their oil in
Right.
one spot in the ground and it seeps in, whatever.
Right.
Now we know better than that, so we shouldn't be doing it. So if you're doing it, you're wrong. Does it take a police officer to come by and inspect you? No, because now you're no longer have any individual responsibility to eat yourself and to others. Like, that's the thing, is it's my responsibility to do the right thing. I should do it because I'm a good person, and I don't want future generations drinking oil in their water or not being able to grow crops or anything else. There's supposed to be a sense of right and wrong, and we've gotten away from moralities. It's mine. You have what I don't have, so I get to take it, and you can't do anything about it. You need to back off and let me take this. No, you need to be punished, and you're not going to take it in front of me because I worked hard for it, and it's mine. I will act like a child, and you don't get to have what you didn't earn.
Right.
It's that simple. And I know most of our viewers, except for the people watching, to hate on you, agree with us. But
Why did hate on me?
I don't know, Zeta was like, Dad, you ever realize that everybody's always like, "Don't blah, blah, blah." Did it ever say Steve? I was like, well, I'm not on social media. I'm sure there's people that probably want to yell at me, but
Yeah. I just don't give a
Zeta
shit.
was lamenting, like feeling bad for you. I was like, don't feel bad for Tim. Tim can handle himself, and Tim's open-minded. and can have a conversation with someone. If they realize that, they don't have to come at him crazy. They can just say, hey, do you know X, Y, and Z? Now, when people write you and say you don't know the whole facts and they're a citizen and they're not in the government and yet they know more than you, well, then I got issue with that. Because why do they know more than you? All of us should know exactly the same thing. If you have privileged information, you are part of the problem. You are not part of the solution. Newsflash. Like, if you're withholding information, you are part of the problem. Share it. Communicate. But to go around acting like you're an idiot because you don't know everything, but yet some other people do, you're part of the problem.
When you spend the time to research and look into things.
Yeah.
I was like, all those people out there that are like that, like, want to hate, like, well, then what the hell have you done lately for your town?
Yeah.
But what have you done? Nothing. You sit behind a keyboard and you just type and type, and you don't know jack shit about anything. Yeah, whatever. I really don't care.
It's coming in hot on a Monday. I thought we were going to do like a 20-minute show and be out of here. You got me triggered.
Oh,
I had 2 cups of that Starbucks instant coffee, and now I'm all...
You drinking communist coffee?
Yeah, well, it's old. Like, I had to break it up. That's how old it is.
Kids will
The
ask
coffee
me,
pot was dirty, so it was in the pantry.
kids are always like, could we go to Starbucks? Nope. I'll pay. Don't care. But I'm paying. Don't care. And I won't do it, and all they get pissed off. Won't do it.
You need to do that with Mountain Dew, with McDonald's, with Coca-Cola, with Nike,
Most of the Coke I've been drinking lately has been Mexican Coke.
Adidas. Yeah,
I don't
Runnings
want
is the place to get your Mexican Cokes, by the way. I don't know, like, one time at Shaw's, they were like,
Coca-Cola, by the way, not
Yeah.
the stuff.
Mexican Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Runnings,
Glass bottle.
$1.49 at the front counter, glass bottles. They have others if you're not a Coke fan, but the cane sugar, I
Yes.
can tell the difference.
No high fructose corn syrup.
I tell you this all the time. I saw another video where they were comparing our ketchup to Canadian ketchup. We have 12 chemicals or whatever, and they have like 5 ingredients, and we have 12.
Yes.
They're poisoning us.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're poisoning us, but they're putting stuff in our food that other countries don't allow them to put it on their food. Just say it like that.
Well, the only thing that's freaking California's done that made any sense to me is they outlawed Skittles because of that.
Did they really outlaw them?
Yes, because of that red dye that's in it, which is outlawed in the UK, or not in the UK, in Europe, because that red dye is not good for you, which is in Skittles. California is like, well, because if you ever noticed, everything causes cancer in California.
Like everything I buy
Newsflash,
has
probably everything does cause cancer, but,
Proposition 65 covers pretty much everything in my pantry, in my garage, in my closet. I bet there's probably a warning label on this that if I wear it in California.
California's the reason you can't have a vented gas can. You know, they used to vent
Yeah,
on them
that-
so
when
it
they
poured like
worked.
it should. Oh, it can't do that. That's dangerous. So now it's all ventless, and it's like a fucking joke.
Finger gets jammed. You got to break those red things off.
This is what happens. You let stupid people run your government.
Well, that's why I was saying it takes personal responsibility, right? So some jackass was like, oh, wow, people leave their cans open on the vent, and so the gas evaporates into the air, causing whatever. Okay, well, they wasted their gas.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
Right.
So that's California's. I was wondering that one day. I was like, "This is ridiculous."
That was a long time ago.
I pinched my finger. You know, 'cause you got to push
Yeah.
that thing, and it's
Yeah.
5 gallons, and it
it's
falls
like,
on your thumb.
Look. So instead of dumping gas in 30 seconds, it takes
Personal
10
responsibility. But then you go and you say, "Why do we have to pass all these laws?" It's because we're not teaching the right things in schools either, which is accountability, responsibility. Like, we want them to just do what they're told, whereas we should want them to understand why they should sit still for an hour. And, like, why is this class important? Because some classes probably aren't that important. The classes to me that are important are, like, my finances, my government, like civics, and history. Because history has a way, whatever we call history, since it's written by the winners. So
and changes.
and change it, yeah. Like now they just rewrite it.
Yeah, they don't like it.
They
Change it.
rewrote the history of America. Like we were taught, and granted, maybe we were wrong, but I doubt it. For all those years, we're taught that they were escaping religious persecution, and now they try to rewrite it that we just wanted to have a bunch of slaves.
Yeah, I'm sure that was.
That's
it.
what the 1619 or whatever project is to convince you that your country is evil because it was invented for slavery, not for practice your own religion and not be told what to do. And then it really did, they tried to tax tea like a 0.1%. That's how you know we're a bunch of, like, when I say drugged up, like whatever they're feeding us makes us less agitated or whatever, because no one cares about taxes on taxes. Like, they tax you, then they tax that, then they tax that, then they tax your death. And like, so all you do is give money away so that they can send it over to Pakistan to study homosexuality when it's not even accepted over there.
In a country where they'll stone you to death if you're homosexual.
If you're lucky, they stone you to death.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Throw you off a building, allegedly.
When we live in a world where the people of France have more balls than Americans, things are upside down.
Hey, I like making fun of the French, but a lot of things have happened because of the French.
You can't make, I can't, consciously can't be like, oh, those French.
They're out
Really?
there burning
Because they went
streets.
from 62 to 64 for retirement. And they're like 9 million of them. And they're like,
They're not letting up.
No.
It's been months.
and they're
Or a
still
month.
going. And it's like, and you don't see it on the news, of course, because, they don't
They don't
want
wanna
to be
encourage you to
showing
stand
you
up for yourself.
that if you stood up for yourself, that you could actually stop all this stuff. And that was over retirement age. And here we are, and all the things that have been happening to us, like, and we just take it. Okay. For instance, here we go. Here's another lie of the day. U.S. asylum system, a jewel. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, anti-American traitor,
Yeah, he needs to be arrested.
claims 50% reduction in border crossing since Title 42 ended. So if Title 42 ended, which would reduce the amount, which, so in his theory, is reducing the amount of people coming across, then why did the Biden administration fight in court when the Republicans tried to keep 42 going? Because it was Title 42 is what kept these people out, even though we've got the amount coming in.
I would just say, this is how I would talk to people. If I talk to people about this kind of stuff, people won't talk to me about this kind of stuff. But go watch Baghdad Bob from Iraq and his press briefings and the lies that he spewed, and you see how obvious it is. That's what's going on in this country. People just don't realize that KJP is Baghdad Bob. Mayorkas is Baghdad Bob. They're all a bunch of clowns just spewing out lies because they can, because 2012, whenever it was, they amended the Smith-Mundt whatever act, and so they can use propaganda against us. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It used to be illegal to do it on our own citizens. So now everything that you see going on in our country is what we do over in other countries to undermine their governments.
Right, except our government's undermining us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that they can all sign up for the...
Almost 7 million illegals have come across the border under Biden in 2.5 years. 7 million. There's 1.3 million
Has
people
7
in
New
Hampshire.
Hampshires?
7 New
Or
Hampshires.
six-
Well,
six-
yeah. By the end of his term, it'll be a
Yeah.
solid 7, 8,
Yeah.
maybe 9. New
So
Hampshire.
6 New Hampshires have flooded into our country.
Yep. Yep.
And California's allowing illegals to vote.
Yeah.
So they really shouldn't have any representation in our government.
I mean, if this is what's happening, and so like Abbott is sending them to New York City and Washington. Like, now, I get it because he's trying to send a message. The message isn't getting sent because they're just
in the old days, the governor would have said, "F you, federal government, I'm stopping and closing my border down,"
which
and force it to come to a
I
head.
thought he was trying to do that. But
No, he's
apparently not very well.
They're all corrupt.
Yeah.
Tim.
Like, send the military down there and stop them.
If Abbott were a true Texan who loved his state and his country, so if he was he would stop it.
Right.
He can stop it. He can send the Texas National Guard down there and stop at least the Texas borders. They can do it in Arizona.
Right.
All of them could stop it if they wanted to.
So,
But, like we talk about, the federal government's got like 3 things they're supposed to do. One of them is like protect the border. So it's the federal government's job. But if they're not doing it, somebody has to do it. Just like if they're telling you to arrest a guy who didn't commit a crime, who did the right thing, then you're part of the problem.
yeah. But at least
You can conscientiously say, or you can, I refuse to participate in this. And if they fire you,
Here's the thing. So, I agree.
get unemployment and find a new job.
You need to stop them coming through. Like, stop them. That's what really needs to happen. But the fact you're not, At least just send them all to California because no one gives a shit about California.
No.
And then any luck that fault line cracks and it disappears.
Falls off.
I've been hearing about that for years.
It's probably a lie to
best
get
thing.
you to like stop using red dye number 5. Who knows?
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's going to fall off unless you kill 500,000 cows in New Mexico and they all fall over with their legs flat straight up.
It's amazing, isn't it? It is. Isn't that weird?
But that makes sense. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've been around farm animals. I grew up, my papa had 20, 30 head of cattle.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of dead animals. That's not how it works.
I've never seen all 5 of them, or 5 out of the 30. 2 of the 30. Not how they die.
Every one of them, legs straight out.
Yeah,
Like
they don't die like that.
Just like they just like tipped over and and they didn't look dehydrated or nothing. But that heat got them.
But, you know, what's going on with the Kardashians? Because that's what's really important.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What are they wearing? And how can I dress like them? And can I start
God, is Kim's
talking
ass
like
gotten
them?
bigger? Oh, my.
It's all right to have a vice, right? Like, but they're fake. They're selling you something.
Yeah. Who's
Man,
the guy?
you triggered
basically-
me. I was going to have a 10-minute show this morning, Tom. I thought I wasn't supposed to talk. Didn't I say I'm not talking anymore after you triggered me the first time?
Doesn't take much to trigger you.
Normally, I don't really get triggered.
Let's go talk about Swiss cheese or COVID policies.
Because of COVID. No, it's because of your policies. Like, people, if you don't want to see it, you won't see it. But you can go look at the stats and see how the flu flip-flopped with COVID for 2 years, or at least 1 year. They probably split it up a little bit better to hide it when they realized that there were only 3,000 flu cases. And we eradicated flu for a year, and there was no celebrating.
Right.
But it's back now. I wonder how we got rid of it for a year.
I don't know.
Amazing.
Isn't it amazing? On that note. So anyways, selectmen meeting tonight, 6:30. The agenda's posted. It'll be live on NCTV. I suggest people show up to meetings. It's your best thing now. I have softball practice, so I won't be there. But Bert will be there sitting in up front right next to Hunter.
Well, it's
Mornings.
informational, so I'll probably just watch it. If it were something for action, I would go. But they're talking about the bus bar, and I don't want to. I like to be patient and measured in my responses, and I don't want to get.
I'll see what happens.
I'd rather, you know what I mean?
Fight the battle when it's official and not when you think it's going to be a certain way.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, right? Yeah, softball game today at 4, baseball game at 4, home if you're out and about. Swing down, support the ladies, support the boys, however, whatever. Enjoy the day. It's supposed to be nice all week, supposedly, so just a little chilly on Wednesday. But
Where's the rain?
we don't need rain. Stop with this rain crap. Don't need
April
rain.
showers
Don't.
bring May flowers.
Yes,
It's
this is
May.
May.
And
Yeah, the shower part's over. That was April. You weren't here. Get past it. Done.
I don't need the rain because my garden's
Negative.
not
No
put
rain.
in. So
No
you're
rain.
right. I don't need it. But
You have a well. Just water the damn thing. Don't need rain. Rain wrecks everything I have to do outside.
I know, but see, here's my dilemma. If I plant that row of cabbage and everything that can do well in the cold and radishes and all that stuff, which I need to do today or tomorrow, I'm going to do one. I need to water it because there's no rain coming, which means now I got to run my watering system, which means there won't be time for you to plow. So I think that answers. I think maybe we'll just plow in the fall because I mid-busted it. So if I plant that row, I'm going to need to water it. So then that
Right.
is going to make it harder for you to get in and out of there.
All right. So get your hose crossed. We don't need rain.
I need rain if I'm going to plant that row, so I
No
don't have to
rain.
do my water.
All right, guys. No rain.
No rain for Tim
Yes.
today.
No. All summer.
No, what?
It can rain at night from midnight to 6 a.m. Be sunny at 7 and
Well, once you get your drainage put in, it'll make it better. Well, you already did. You got that ditch put in. You said it's already starting to dry out.
yeah, it's getting there. All right. Thank you for watching the Tim and Steve show. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Till I see the golden gates, troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your